2017, one of the most universally loved Hollywood stars, Terry Crews, attempted to warn us about the depraved nature of powerful executives in the industry. Not only did he share his extremely humiliating experience to a global audience, but he also tried to do the right thing and get justice legally, only for his case to be thrown out due to what seemed to be the LAPD being paid off. As if that wasn't bad enough, self-proclaimed macho men in the industry made fun of Terry for sharing his story, giving more of a reason for victims to remain silent.
Terry Crews was like the Hulk, and I just couldn't get how he said that he didn't, like he froze, like he was afraid.
A little chubby white man grabbed your nuts and you ain't do shit. That's funny.
I think it's hard for me to think that a dude with all those muscles can't tell an agent to not touch his ass.
Is there a chance that Terry just might be gay and hasn't come out the closet yet?
Because I had the same thought that you just had.
Ironically, as much as these men tried to minimize Crews, all it did was expose themselves for being a cog in the wheel of Hollywood's evil machine. But this was just one of the countless dark moments in Terry's career. Although the world saw him as a lovable, muscular teddy bear, deep down he was suffering from a lifetime of pain. Today we are going to deep dive into the tragic story of Terry Crews, the gentle giant who never had to build a facade to be loved. The reason Terry Crews decided to become a chiseled 250-pound beast was because he thought he would have to kill his father.
A lot of my desire to be strong was because I knew one day I may have to kill my father.
Terry Crews was the son of a violent alcoholic father and an extremely religious mother.
Well, my earliest memory is my father knocking my mother out. He was physically abusive, just straight up. And it's wild because he didn't hit us, because my mother would kill him.
Right.
But my mother let him hit her. Not let, I wouldn't even say let, but she would just say, she kind of took her abuse as par for the course.
Divorce was not even considered an option because of his mother's religious views, so Terry had to witness this constant violence through his formative years. Additionally, his mother's religion did not allow Terry to go to the movies, watch television, listen to music, or really do anything that was secular. So he developed an incredible imagination and a knack for drawing.
I started this art ability simply because I had a huge imagination and was wondering what the world was like. I mean, people would tell me, you know, they went to the movies and they would describe the films and I would try to draw them out.
Wow.
Because I couldn't see them.
Whether it was playing the flute, dancing, painting, or acting, Terry knew he was destined to be an artist. But coming from Flint, Michigan, being an artist was not a realistic career, so he constantly felt the need to suppress his dreams. In the 9th grade, he was finally allowed to play sports, and being a larger kid, he gravitated to football. At Flint Academy High School, Terry was the backbone of their defense. Despite this, he never got any offers to play college ball. He did, however, receive an Art Excellence Scholarship to attend Western Michigan University. At WMU, he decided he would give football another chance. Due to his size and natural athletic ability, he earned a spot on the team as a walk-on player. As a defensive end, Terry was named to the All-American team by the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Over his college career, Terry Crews recovered 4 fumbles, which was one shy of a school record, and recorded 12 tackles in a 24-12 victory over Wisconsin. His play on the field helped him earn second-team All-Mid-American Conference honors. Crews helped Western Michigan win the Mid-American Conference Championship in 1988. And even though Terry still believed he was destined to be an artist, he just had no realistic way of achieving that dream. Plus, he had a chance of making the National Football League.
All the way back to college, when I was dating my wife, I told her we were sitting at a Wendy's parking lot. We were sitting in the Wendy's. They had little places in the front where we sit there. And I said, look, first I'm gonna play in the NFL. Then we're gonna move to Hollywood. We're gonna make movies. I made that promise. You see, because I always talk.
Right.
And that's what got on everybody's nerve. Right. Okay, they was like, he talking again.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play in the NFL. Then we're gonna move to Hollywood and make movies. She was like, okay.
And all this talk about football is reminding me that it's the best time of the year. The NFL season and the NBA season are underway. And my partner, Underdog, wants you to turn your takes into cash. Join the millions of fans that played on Underdog last year. With their pick'em game, you could win money by making picks on your favorite players. You could win up to 1000x your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, threes, and much more. Create entries of only NBA picks or mix and match across your other favorite sports like the NFL. Underdog is available in 30 plus states including California and Texas. Here are my picks for NBA opening night. New customers can pair my picks with this LeBron James free pick. All he needs is 1 point to win. Every NBA only entry is profit boosted on Underdog for the opening week. There's no better place to play. Sign up and deposit now using promo code PatrickCC to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Thanks, Underdog. The Los Angeles Rams drafted Terry Crews in the 11th round. As a rookie with the LA Rams, he played in only 6 games that season on special teams and then sat out the rest of the 91 and 92 seasons. If you didn't know, the vast majority of NFL players don't earn those multi-million-dollar paychecks, especially in the 90s. Plus, if you don't make the official roster or you get hurt, you don't get paid. Crews played for 6 different teams in 7 years. He was constantly getting cut and was never able to secure that big contract. So he had to use his artistic abilities to make money.
I would get cut from a team. Okay. And, I played on 6 teams in 7 years, so that happened a lot. So I would go back into the locker room and ask the players if they wanted their portraits painted.
After being cut?
Yes, because that's how I survived. I was always on the end of the roster. I was never a big superstar. I was an 11th round draft pick. So my whole thing is, humility gets you far. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta make some money, you gotta humble yourself. And I would go back in, and it was so cool because the big stars, they'd be like, man, I'll get a little brother a painting, and I'll give him some money. And it was really kind of cool, but the thing is, I was really good.
It would take him about 2 months to complete a painting as it was done entirely by hand, but he would charge the players about $5,000 per piece, and that was enough to pay his rent, feed his wife, and 2 daughters. Terry even says the reason he is bald is because he was so broke.
Back in 1991, I had the most beautiful flat top you could imagine. And then I went to the NFL and I was like, oh man, my high top is so beautiful. And then I got cut. And so I was like, oh man, barbershops cost money. And I had no money. I literally was broke. I just went, I'm going all out, I'm shaving it off, and I was so disappointed.
Were you really?
Bro, wait, first of all, you gotta talk about, I didn't know it was lumpy. I had no idea there was lumps in my head.
It was now 1997, Terry was almost 30 years old, and he knew he was never going to get the consistent NFL job. Over his 7-year career, Terry played in a total of 26 NFL games and secured a total of 5 tackles. Feeling defeated with absolutely no direction to go in, it was actually his wife who brought up that promise that he made to her back in college. She said, "Let's take the girls to Hollywood and make movies." But how does a guy with no money, no connections, and a family of 4 survive in Hollywood? Well, he started by asking his former Washington Redskins teammate Ken Harvey for money.
And I was taking these loans from my friend, continued to take, I probably took about 20, 30 loans from this guy. And he was a pro football player. He's my good friend, Ken Harvey. He's still my good friend to this day. And that's what's so amazing. He stopped and said, hey man, I asked him for one more loan. He said, dude, that's it. I can't do it anymore.
Terry lived off his friend's money for a year and a half trying to get a job working behind the scenes of a Hollywood production. He was unsuccessful. Desperate to pay the bills, he went to a temp agency to find work where they gave him a job sweeping factory floors for $8 an hour.
Sweeping floors humbled me. Like there's a breaking that you have to go through. Because there was a long time I wouldn't do that.
Right.
And I was like, hey man, I'm too proud for this. And what would everybody think if they see me sweeping the floor?
Right.
And my wife was like, they don't know you.
After sweeping floors, Terry used his natural size and NFL pass to apply for security work. He landed multiple jobs in LA working security outside of various Hollywood studios. In 1999, he was working outside the set during the filming of Next Friday, starring Ice Cube and Mike Epps. Terry's job on that set was to secure, aka just watch Ice Cube's car for 12 hours.
And I was out there literally watching Cube's car. And and there I was, I'm like, I'm in the business. But I was so far from
from anything happening.
Through working security, Terry met a friend who was a location manager. Location managers basically just oversee all of the various locations of a film production, and they also hire security to secure those locations.
Well, he's like, dude, we're doing this really intense movie at the Jungle right now with Denzel Washington. You gotta come check it out. I came on set as a visitor. I've always realized that you just have to go. Like if you just show up, a lot of times your opportunities are there. I was watching Denzel prepare and I was studying him and I was like, this is how an actor at the top of his game does his thing. Well, the director walks over to me, Antoine Fuqua, and he said, hey man, you wanna be in this movie? I said, yeah. I was like, sir, whatever you need me to do. It was wild. And he said, I'm gonna find ways to use you in the movie. And I was like, whatever you need. And I didn't get one dime for training day. I just showed up, I volunteered, I said, whatever I can do, I just wanna help the movie. I want this to be the best thing ever.
Oh, you motherfucker. Okay.
Terry's uncredited role in the film was so small and seemingly so insignificant, yet it was the reason why he got his big break in Hollywood. Training Day was a $100 million box office hit, and it just so happened to be one of Ice Cube's favorite movies. And when Ice Cube was watching Training Day, he remembered Terry Crews as the security guard from his set 2 years ago. So he got in contact with Crews and asked him to audition for his next film, Friday After Next.
But they remembered me. So I got a chance to audition for Friday After Next. And I remember us sitting in the waiting room, me and Cat Williams, hoping, praying one day we would be able to, be in this movie. Cat Williams and I decided we were gonna go all in. There was gonna be no holding back. If you look at the scenes with Cat Williams and I, it's almost like an intense drama.
Although Friday After Next was not a box office smash, the Friday series was a cult classic loved by millions more than the financials indicate. Terry Crews was officially in. All of what he calls Black Hollywood knew his name, his face, and he was ready to take over.
I knew I was in my destiny. When I say, and this is what I'm saying, I found my destiny. It was so wild because I didn't even want money anymore. I said, I want that feeling again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. It's too, because you could talk about athletes and money and all that stuff, but there's a point when I'm sure when you just catching and doing everything right, you want to chase that again.
Despite Terry seeming like he was on top of the world, he was still suffering through dark times. One Christmas that he calls the Christmas from Hell, he decided to take his children and his wife back to Flint, Michigan to see his family. Fearful of his father, also known as Big T, resorting back to his old ways, Terry told him to keep his composure in front of the grandchildren. But once the alcohol got flowing, Big T lashed out, and he hit Terry's mom in front of the children, knocking her tooth out of place.
I said, so what's going on? Nothing. I said, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you not to act up? Didn't I tell you? CT. Bam! 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 Grown ass man now. I hit him. Then my brother came in. Bam! We beat his ass, CT. Now let me tell you something. This is the thing. Now this is what I want everybody to get. I didn't feel better. I didn't feel better. It didn't work.
Terry learned right there and then that physical violence is never going to solve his problems.
Because the thing is, with all this stuff, with all this shit, you have to rise above. And I wasn't rising above. Yeah. I went down with him. Yeah. I went to his level. This is why gang members, when you shoot back, now you just like everybody else.
Right with him.
You right there with him. There's a moment that I had to choose to rise above, but I didn't.
After this incident, Terry did not return home for over a decade. He went back to Hollywood and masked his pain through his work. Crews had not yet proved himself as a lead in Hollywood. He was only getting minor roles, but he had a drive and dedication like no other. He said yes to almost everything, which led to him filming 4 movies per year. But the one role that earned him global superstardom was his role as Latrell in White Chicks. White Chicks is about 2 fumbling FBI agents who disguise themselves as mega-rich princesses to infiltrate high society, with the obvious caveat that they are black men disguising themselves as white white women. That fact alone was enough to get people extremely interested in the film. Terry had met Damon Wayans through his work. Damon is related to Keenen Ivory Wayans, who is Hollywood royalty, producing comedy classics like In Living Color, Scary Movie, Don't Be a Menace to South Central, among others. The Wayans invited Cruise to audition for White Chicks, and Terry impressed Keenen, so much so that when he got the part as Latrell, the comedy legend often told Cruise to basically freestyle on set. Terry never felt more comfortable as an actor and comedian, and he knew this was his time to shine. In the film, Cruise plays the role of pro basketball player Latrell Spencer, who is attracted to Tiffany not knowing that she is actually Marcus disguised as a woman.
Santa must have come early this year, because you were first on my Christmas list.
Woo, there it is right there.
I want to know, are you naughty or nice?
Sorry, I'm not interested.
I'll take that as naughty.
Throughout the entire film, Tiffany is trying to do whatever she can to make Latrell disinterested, whether that be pigging out in front of him or even letting one rip, but it doesn't work. Everything she does just makes Latrell more interested.
Oopsie, I had a poopsie.
Girl, we gonna get along just fine. Back at you.
But the most iconic scene from this film that defined Terry Crews's entire career was when he picked up Tiffany to go out to eat, turned on the radio, and sang every word to 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton. The most shocking part about this scene was that it was actually filmed in just one take. It only took one take because Terry actually loved this song and knew every single word to it before ever stepping onto the movie set. Despite being hilarious in the entire film, Terry's career drastically changed from this scene alone.
Slowly but surely, everything just started to change for me. People would give me my mail, like, making my way downtown. And they were like, do the song. Do the song.
White Chicks grossed over $100 million in the box office, but it is widely regarded as a cult classic. He became recognized globally and his Hollywood presence skyrocketed. From there, Cruise got a taste of the Adam Sandler stimulus package when he secured a role in The Longest Yard, which was a film about a washed-up former professional football quarterback who goes to prison and is forced to assemble a team to play against the guards. Terry's character, Cheeseburger Eddie, is known for being able to get any item from the McDonald's menu into their prison.
I knew you couldn't resist my I got the shakes that'll make you quake. I got the fries that'll cross your eyes. I got the burgers that'll... I just got burgers.
He also did one of the cleanest robot dances you will ever see. Terry continued to steamroll through cult classics, securing the role as the president in Idiocracy. Idiocracy was written and directed by the legendary Mike Judge, who thought Terry was an absolute perfect fit for President Camacho, a former professional wrestler and also prawn star.
Shit. I know bad right now, with all that starving bullshit and the dust storms, and we running out of French fries and burrito coverings.
Yeah.
But I got a solution.
That's what you said last time, dipshit.
Ironically, President Camacho would have a decent chance at winning the actual presidential election today, but it was again a connection that Terry Crews made on set that would get him another career-defining role, which was portraying Chris Rock's father on the TV sitcom Everybody Hates Chris.
I opened that up. He's like, I want you to play my dad. Because he saw me and my wife and my 2 kids out there in Santa Fe, New Mexico, when we was filming Longest Yard. He was watching. And that's the thing another people, you gotta remember, everybody is watching. Everybody is watching. And so then I played Chris's dad on Everybody Hates Chris for 4 years straight. This man, when I look at my life, man, I just thank God for every opportunity.
Everybody Hates Chris is an extremely highly rated sitcom, achieving a near perfect score from both fans and critics. And although it is a comedy, it is primarily about adolescence and family life in inner city poverty, the determined struggles of decent parents trying to provide a better life and values for their family, which made Terry the perfect candidate for the role, as that kinda explains his real life. Cruz's character Julius was loved for his insane levels of frugality.
I know you're not gonna throw that away. Eat that. That's 30 cents worth of oatmeal. Unplug that clock, boy. You can't tell time when you sleep. It's 2 cents an hour.
Throughout his career, Terry constantly broke the trope that muscular African Americans had to be portrayed as tough gangsters. Muscles aren't funny was a common thought in the industry, and Terry knew he could break that barrier. He didn't need to pretend to be something he wasn't for the approval of Hollywood. He didn't have to build some facade and maintain it so he could get consistent work. He always remained himself, and that's why fans loved him. Terry Crews is a giant muscular teddy bear that deserves to be loved and appreciated. After his hard work through the 2000s, Terry Crews was officially an A-list superstar, but his dark past that he hid from his wife was at its tipping point. Not the money, the fame, nor the acceptance from the world could distract him from the secret he was hiding from his family. And on his darkest day, to what he now calls D-Day, is when he had to admit to his wife that he had cheated on her.
Years go by, but my wife was always suspicious, like, what's up with you, Terry? And I'm like, I'm good. And I remember starting arguments, so she would stop talking. You start to forget which lie you told. Things start to conflate and mixing up, and the pornography never stopped. It would be at a lull, but I'd go like a month and be like, oh wow, I'm good. And then February 2010, she was like, what is it I don't know about you, Terry Crews? And I'm like, what she has to complain about? It's a good life, And the question I would ask her, and I would literally ask myself, was like, why doesn't she believe me? When the question I should have been asking is, why am I lying? And I had blamed her for not believing me. That's how deep it goes. And I'm gonna tell you, success is the warmest place to hide. You get a lot of sycophants. You get a lot of people telling you, you're right. I had tons of people like, man, you good. In comparison to everybody else, oh my God, you never hit your wife. You bring the money home. You do all this stuff. But I was not real. I was a lie. I was living a lie. And when I told my wife, I heard this gasp on the other end, and I was like, oh boy, I think it's over. And she said, I'm done. She said, I don't know who you are. I have no idea. Because see, to me, it happened 10 years ago. But to her, it happened today.
Most men in Hollywood, or in general, would have listened to their ego. They would have convinced themselves that their infidelity was no big deal, and it's menial compared to what other men do. Additionally, a Hollywood star like Terry Crews would probably have left their wife and just married some 21-year-old. But then, how would his kids view him? You see, Terry Crews was trying to be the role model that his father never was. He also loved his wife and cherished her loyalty to him. She stuck by him when he was nothing. She believed in him, and he knew that was something he could not just let go. They spent years repairing their relationship, but today they use their story as a way to help other couples revive their relationships.
So now, this is what you have to do. And I was totally prepared to live the rest of my life by myself, because knowing what I'd done, I was like, would I forgive me? See, that was the big thing. Like, would I forgive me? And you know what the answer was? No.
Yeah.
She did.
Many people praise Terry for opening up about his vulnerabilities. He says he constantly receives emails and messages from people that he has inspired to get help for their addictions, or dive deeper into their faith to find answers for their darkness. However, not everyone thought him being vulnerable was honorable. Some of them thought it was funny. More specifically, when he announced to the world that he was sexually assaulted, guys like 50 Cent, Nick Cannon, and others publicly mocked him. On October 10th, 2017, Terry tweeted, "This whole thing with Harvey Weinstein is giving me PTSD. Why? Because this kind of thing happened to me. My wife and I were at a Hollywood function last year, and a high-level Hollywood executive came over to me and groped my privates. Jumping back, I said, 'What are you doing?' My wife saw everything and we looked at him like he was crazy. He just grinned like a jerk. The alleged perpetrator was Adam Venit, who was the head of motion pictures for Morris Endeavor Entertainment, an American holding company for talent and media agencies with a net worth of around $6.9 billion, servicing A-list clients like Jake Gyllenhaal, Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Denzel Washington, and even Elvis Presley. Based on the casual nature of Terry's tweet, it was kind of hard to take him seriously. Then when he went on national news to tell his story, they realized this was no joke.
Back in February 2016, I was assaulted by Adam Venit, who is the head of the motion picture department at William Morris Endeavor, one of the biggest agencies in the world. He's connected to, probably everyone I know in the business. I did not know this man.
So you did not know him before this?
I have never had a conversation with him, ever. I'm looking at him and he's basically staring at me and he's sticking his tongue out and, it's overtly sexual kind of tongue moves. And I'm sitting there like, it's a party, it's packed, the whole thing. And I'm looking like, is this a joke? I mean, I don't understand. It was actually so bizarre. And he keeps coming over to me. He comes over to me, I stick my hand out, and he literally takes his hand and puts it and squeezes my genitals. And I'm jump back like, hey. And he's like, and he's still licking his tongue out and all this stuff. And I go, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then he comes back again. And he just won't stop. And I really got forceful, pushed him back. He bumps into all the other party goers, the whole thing, and he starts giggling and laughing. And let me tell you, Mike, I have never felt more emasculated, more objectified.
So you didn't think anybody would believe you if you came forward?
Last year, no. Actually, I let it go. Actually, I put it in the back of my head and I understood why women everywhere had to let it go. But let me tell you, when the Weinstein thing started happening, I got PTSD. I was going, oh my God, this exact thing happened to me.
Shortly after Terry reported this, he got a call from Adam Venit himself.
I get a call, here it's him on the line. I'm sorry, I was drunk, I wasn't myself that night. And I said, hey man, you gotta understand the depth of what you did in front of my wife. I said, man, you don't even know how close you got to really being hurt. And I said, you need some help. I said, you need to go get help. And he was like, yeah, okay.
Was it sincere? Did you feel like it was sincere?
No. It's like when people are sorry because they got caught.
After telling his story to the world, Terry then decided to file a police report with the LAPD about the incident.
Cruz first talked publicly about this last month.
People have to be held accountable. We're gonna go all the way.
Determined to get justice, Cruz filed a lawsuit against Adam Venit. Russell Simmons, a record executive who has never done any business with Terry Crews in his life, emailed Terry asking him if he would give the agent a pass. But Terry remained firm. Nobody gets a pass.
I ignored it. When he emailed me at first, I ignored it, and then all of a sudden he's like, I got zero tolerance for this thing. I'm like, wait a minute, you say you got zero tolerance, but you told me to get a dude a pass when the dude did it to me. I said, that's because abusers protect abusers. This culture protects it. They protect each other like that.
Terry even told his story in front of the Senate.
My name is Terry Crews. I am an actor, author, former athlete, advocate, and a survivor of a sexual assault. This past year, we have seen powerful men in Hollywood and elsewhere finally held accountable for sexual harassment and assault. We also saw the backlash survivors faced after coming forward.
It's sad that people say, we need to care more about men who are SA'd too, but when men speak up about it, they oftentimes get made fun of and ridiculed. The people who should be ridiculed are the gross assailants, not the victims. Since this was at the heart of the Me Too movement, where most people speaking out were called opportunists and liars, many raised the argument that nobody could possibly assault a 250-pound muscular beast like Terry Crews, essentially proposing the idea that he was lying or doing this for attention. 50 Cent was one of the many who ridiculed him. On Instagram, he posted an image of a shirtless Terry Crews with the words, "I got R-worded. My wife just watched." It also featured a second photo of Crews in a suit with a rose in his mouth with the words, "Gym time." In the caption, he wrote, "LOL, what the F is going on here, man? Terry, I froze in fear. They would have had to take me to jail." Get the strap. 50 doubled down on his comments in an interview with Larry King.
Terry Crews is like the Hulk. This guy's like huge. And he when he gets into a scenario, starts to explain the scenario, because he was speaking to the Senate, and the lady asked him, well, you didn't do anything, you didn't like push him off, or... And I just couldn't get how he said that he didn't, like he froze, like he was afraid.
And Terry was approached and asked to respond to 50's comments. He took the high road.
Today, 50 Cent took a shot at you on one of his posts, saying that saying with how big you are, how could this have happened to you?
Yeah.
And he said if it had happened to him, he would have grabbed this strap.
Well, I love 50 Cent. I listen to his music while I'm working out. That's the deal.
Amanda, the stairs.
I love it.
Anything about how big you are? Is that something is that a fair comment by him?
Well, first of all, I proved that size doesn't matter when it comes to sexual assault.
But that didn't stop the conversation around Terry. In fact, it just poured more gas on the fire. Some people even started to ponder if Terry was gay, and that maybe he liked it.
Is there a chance that Terry just might be gay and hasn't come out the closet yet?
Let me tell you something. When I saw that today, right, it with me for a split second, because I had the same thought that you just had. When you're from the street, and now Terry Crews from Flint. He's from Flint, Michigan. I don't know nobody else. Some of the coldest gangsters I know come out of Flint, Michigan. So what the fuck he was trying to prove with the purse and the boots, I don't get it, because it doesn't prove anything. And to the LGBTQ, to the Terry Crewses of the world, listen, we're not here to bash nobody. Some things are just misconstrued. And don't forget, we are entitled to our opinions also.
More of Terry's peers chimed in, like comedian D.L. Hewley.
What do you think of the whole Terry Crews thing?
I think it's hard for me to think that a dude with all those muscles can't tell an agent to not touch his ass.
His ass or his...
Whatever.
Whatever he touched.
I just do. I don't understand. I think that now everybody's so into this notion that it happened to me too. Hey, motherfucker, God gave you muscles so you could say no.
Presumably fed up for being mocked and ridiculed for over a year, Terry kind of snapped at DL, and the way he responded just caused even more controversy. He got into a back and forth with DL Hewley on Twitter, where DL suggested that he should have slapped the executive for groping him, to which Terry replied, "So sir, if you truly feel that is a correct way to deal with toxic behavior, should I slap the shit out of you?" This tweet absolutely exploded with 227,000 likes, but they were just in it for the drama. Many others felt like Terry crossed a line.
So let me get this straight. He want to slap the black man for commenting on his situation, but he does nothing to the white man who created the situation by molesting him and basically dry-raping him in front of his wife.
Nick Cannon jumped in on the conversation. While he said he respects the way Terry handled the situation, he doesn't think that absolves him from being joked on.
A little chubby white man grabbed your nuts and you ain't do shit. That's funny. You a big ass motherfucker. We gonna joke about that. Right. You come on Wildin' Out, it's gonna be nut grabbing jokes for the whole episode. Like, because it happened in the public, we're talking about, it's not, we can joke about this. There's no hate involved in this, but that's how you get over that. Humor heals. Like, let's talk about it. So he can't, I don't agree with him jumping out there and you know, badgering all of these other people who are just talking about it. Like, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, they made jokes about it too. Why you not getting crazy with them?
Nobody seemed to acknowledge that if Terry Crews beat the snot out of this guy, he would be labeled as the crazy black guy who overreacted and beat up the innocent white executive who was just playing a little joke. Unfortunately, Terry's lawsuit never got to see a trial, and a settlement was reached between Venett and Crews, meaning Terry did get some sort of payout. Venett denied the allegations in court documents, claiming his actions towards Crews were not sexual and caused no harm. However, Crews claims that the case was thrown out because Venett was in the LAPD's pockets. He tweeted, "Adam Venett has been the event chairman of the LAPD Foundation, which raises millions for the LAPD. Anyone wonder why my assault case against him was thrown out by the DA? Yeah, #MeToo. Terry risked his career to try to expose the dark reality of a Hollywood executive, and for that, he was mocked and ridiculed by his peers. Some of them will never work with Terry because of this, but it doesn't really seem like it impacted his ability to get work. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Terminator Salvation, The Expendables 1, 2, and 3, Bridesmaids, Arrested Development, The Ridiculous Six, Sorry to Bother You, Deadpool 2, hosting America's Got Talent, and even becoming the most iconic Old Spice spokesman in history, it's safe to say that standing up for what was right paid off in the end. All of Terry's decisions, even if deemed controversial, were done in the spirit of being the man his father never was. Terry is redefining masculinity, constantly asking himself, what is the right thing to do as a husband and as a father? And despite all the pain, torment, and abuse his father put onto him, he forgave him, and they made amends.
And I got with my father, and I forgave him. I learned, I said, you know what? My wife taught me forgiveness. I need to forgive you. And I'll never forget these words. I said, you know what? I've been waiting on you to say you're sorry. You know what? I am going to say right now, that if I could choose my parents, I'd choose you because I came through you. I'm not from you. I came through you. You didn't come from your parents. You came through them. So you do not have to take the stuff that they had. You can choose what to take. You can choose the good or choose the bad. You don't have to settle for, well, this is what we did, this is how we are. So I told him that, and he broke down. He broke down, and I gave him the hug of a lifetime. And this hug lasted, I swear it felt like it lasted 10 minutes. And he cried, and he broke down. And he said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did to you, Marcel. He said, I'm sorry for what I did to you and your brother and your sister and your mother. That's what I was waiting on. And it made me free. It made me free.